let's talk about the best Healing Good PreCure episode 42. Hello everyone, it's Leo, and as you can see, I loved this episode. Honestly, everything that I was afraid, I was scared of happening, didn't happen, and instead, we got the best episode of the season. Cure Grace just became one of my favorite leaders ever. I love her so much after this episode. They did a stellar job in Nodoka's decision, Nodoka's way of seeing herself, and the way she dealt with the whole situation. I loved every second of it. Anyways, Nodoka starts this episode very sad. She was feeling down, and people around her noticed it. But especially Rabirin. Rabirin wasn't really knowing what was happening with Nodoka. She knew what happened last episode. She knew that Nodoka went through something with Daruizen. She was there, but she didn't know why Nodoka was actually feeling sad. So at school, everyone noticed that something was happening to Nodoka. The girls asked Rabirin, and Rabirin didn't know how to answer that. She had an opinion, but she didn't really know if her opinion was correct, so she didn't share with the girls. And this scene was already something that really sold me to the episode. I really liked how both Chiyu and Hinata started talking to Rabirin and saying, Rabirin, look, you're the one that Nodoka trusts. You are the one that knows different sides of Nodoka that we don't. And you are probably someone who will be able to take a burden away from Nodoka. And another very interesting part of this scene was like, Nodoka was doing this wrong, and she was doing that wrong, and she never does this. If it was Hinata, it would be fine. I laughed out loud, and Hinata was like, yeah, if it were me, it would be fine. So then we saw King Byogen, and I did not notice King Byogen was this huge. Was he already this huge last episode? I was like, girl, I didn't notice that. And King Byogen asked Shindoini to go after Daruizen, and he mentioned that he's not going to absorb Shindoini because he needs someone who is loyal to him, and she's super loyal. That's something I said last episode, like for a reasoning that he wouldn't do it with Shindoini. He wouldn't absorb Shindoini now because he needs a loyal servant. Why? I don't know, but that's his reasoning. So at the same time, we see the healing animals. They're getting ready for war. Yes, Teachinu noticed that King Byogen is back. She's like, gather everybody. We're going to Earth. We're going to fight. Girl, you're too slow. Come on. You are too slow. And so after that, we see Nodoka, and this is the chance that Rabirin gets to talk to her. Nodoka is distant. She doesn't really want to talk. But when Rabirin comes, she starts opening up, and they start talking. And very interesting that Rabirin had a way of seeing Nodoka. She felt that Nodoka was feeling sad because she wanted to help Daruizen, because she is very kind. Nodoka is a very kind person, and she wanted to help Daruizen because she is very kind. But because of Rabirin, she wasn't going to help Daruizen because Rabirin is a healing animal, and the function of the healing animals is to heal the earth. So they have to heal the villains as well, the Byogans. They have to purify the Byogans. So with that, she couldn't help Daruizen. And so Rabirin said, if you want, come on, I can help you with this. And it was very interesting because in this scene, Asumi was going to enter, and Rate was like, no, girl, don't enter now. Let's wait for them to finish talking. And this scene really gave me everything. Because when Rabirin started talking, I was like, oh my God, here we go with Nodoka trying to save Daruizen somehow. But no. Nodoka really showed her true feelings this time, and I was super happy. Nodoka acknowledged that she isn't perfect. She acknowledged that she's a human being with actual feelings, and I loved it so much. She was like, you think that I am the kindest person ever. I'm not. I can be kind, but I'm not. This time, I'm scared. I'm afraid. I went through something very traumatic. I almost died. I didn't die because I fought very hard against this disease that was inside me. I was almost killed. And then Rabirin was like, but if you want, let me ask you this. If you want, we can save Daruizen. Say it to me. And she said what she was actually feeling. She shared her actual feelings. And I loved this scene, Rabirin saying, if someone hurts you, I'll punch them in the face. I love Rabirin so much. Definitely my favorite healing animal. I love her, and I love her relationship with Nodoka. And then Nodoka started sharing her feelings again by saying, look, I don't want to save him. I want to battle. I want to battle. I don't want to save him. That is not what I want. I'm not the best person in the world. I don't want to save him. I want to battle him. That's not in me. I went through something traumatic. I went through something hard. I can't get myself to think of Daruizen as someone who needs my help. And that is so understandable. And something different than this would feel strange. And at the same time, it would also feel a little out of character for Nodoka, I think. And so in this episode, Daruizen ended up infecting himself. He didn't have an option anymore. So he infected himself. And after his infection, he became a very different creature than King Guairu. King Guairu infected himself because he wanted to be stronger. He wanted to take the upper hand against King Byogen and be the actual king. So he did this on his own volition. It was his own will of actually trying to become stronger. So he did this because he wanted to do it. So he created King Guairu. But Daruizen did this out of desperation, and he became this monster. He basically lost control. And then the girls arrived. They started fighting, and very interesting scene. I loved this scene. When they arrived, Rabirin looked at Nodoka and said, this is not your fault. And I was very afraid that Nodoka would be like, oh my God, it's not my fault. Is it really not my fault? She was like, it's not my fault because it's not Nodoka's fault. Girl, this is everything. And so the big Daruizen started fighting. It was very nice because those symbols, the earrings he uses, he started throwing the energy rays, energy beams with these formats. I loved it. The girls started defending. Cure Fontaine actually was the first one to use a shield. Girls, wake up. And then Cure Grace as well, but they were having a little hard time. And then Cure Grace never lost her groove in this fight. She was ready. She was always ready. She was using bottles. This fight was very nice. And then they started talking because the girls started noticing that Daruizen was trying to get inside Nodoka during the fight. Like he was attacking, but his goal was to go inside Nodoka and inside Cure Grace. Like he could still recognize Cure Grace, and he was still trying to get inside her. And the girls started helping her. We had a great scene with Earth and Grace together. This scene was awesome. It reminded me of a scene like this in Star Twinkle with Soleil and Celine. It was very nice. And so they started fighting. The fighting was very nice. The animation isn't something out of this world, and I was not expecting to see something out of this world in an episode like this. They usually leave the killer animation for the last battle. This is not the last battle, but they started combining powers. Cure Earth started doing a whirlwind, and then we had Cure Sparkle using the fire bottle to create this fiery tornado. Girl, that moment was everything. But then I think that another thing that was very, very nice about this fight was that obviously Daruizen was still trying to call to Cure Grace because he was still trying to infect her. And she was super smart in this fight by looking at him and saying, look, you are trying to say you're going to go inside me because you're in pain and I don't know your pain and I don't acknowledge your pain. The thing is, you have caused a lot of pain to lots of people. You diminished people all around you. You infected the earth all around you, and you have no idea the pain you caused to people. Nodoka girl, the philosophy, you have no idea how much pain you cause, because if you did, you wouldn't do what you do. And this is very important because she was a direct victim of him and she almost lost her life. And so she has an experience with what he brings. So him asking, and he wasn't simply asking for help. And here is like the biggest reason. He wasn't asking for help directly. He was asking to get inside her once more. And so he wanted to make her sick. And she asked him, when you get inside me, how long will you stay? What is going to happen to my body while you're inside me? Am I going to have to go through everything again? And yes, she would, because she did in the middle of the series when he infected her again, by just to have a little fun. And now he's asking, girl, I can't with this. And then she told him, if you knew the pain you caused, you wouldn't say that I am not taking your pain into account, because she doesn't need to. She is a victim of everything that happened. And I don't think victims should look at their antagonists or I don't know the word, but they shouldn't be complacent to what they're doing. They should not, no matter who they are, they should not. And I really liked this because Nodoka really felt like a real person and not like a mindless hero who does everything in their power to help others. No, she has a conscience of her own. She is still a human being behind it. Amazing, amazing. And then we saw the fire tornado. Finally, the fire bottle being used with firepower. Girl. And then Cure Grace going and, doing everything. She delivered everything in this moment. I was super happy. And right before she hit him with her last blow, with her last kick, she told him that her body, her soul are her own. And the decisions of what happens to her body are hers. This was powerful. Really powerful, metaphorical. I loved it. And then the girls got together and purified Daruizen, but they couldn't purify him completely. And then King Byogen appeared, Shindoine appeared, and King Byogen appeared. And King Byogen absorbed Daruizen and became something else. Look, I'm not going to say I am the biggest fan of furry King Byogen, but I like the furry King Byogen better than the humanoid King Byogen. The humanoid King Byogen, I don't know how I feel about this. I really don't know how I feel about this. But Shindoine does love him, and he looks huge and scary. But then he was trying to shade Cure Grace, and Cure Grace did not take anything. She kicked everything right back with her words, and she was awesome in it. He told her that she is trying to save everyone. She's trying to heal everybody, but she did not save Daruizen. And then I thought that for the last time, I thought that she was going to take a step back and say, he got me. But no. No, he did not. She did not. She just looked at him and said, you're telling me this while you absorbed him? You hypocrite. She didn't say it like this, but that's what she meant. In my mind, you hypocrite. Because she was telling it like it is in this episode. And I loved this last shot of Cure Grace against Neo King Byogen, which is his name now. And all the people in the town could see what was going on. Very interesting. Next episode, big drama. It seems that we thought that Cure Earth was not receiving a last episode. It seems next episode is kinda a Cure Earth episode. Maybe I think that they're gonna do kind of like what they did with Hinata, an episode that was Hinata's last episode. It didn't really feel like a Hinata episode. I think they're gonna do more or less the same with Cure Earth. Next episode, it seems that she's gonna. What do you think? I think it felt like she's going to sacrifice herself. Wow, that's crazy. I don't know what's gonna happen. Anyways, just want to say episode 42 is probably my favorite Healing Good PreCure episode. I am very, very happy with this, and I'm very thankful that things went this way, because if Daruizen needed to seek redemption, he needed to show some sort of something inside of him to redempt. There was nothing, and I really loved everything about Cure Grace in this episode. Definitely one of my favorite leaders after this episode. Girl, I loved it so much. And let me just say one thing. There is another thing in this episode that felt important, and I feel like it's going to play a role in Healing Good still. We still have 3 episodes to go. When Daruizen was being defeated, Cure Grace said, "My body is my own, my soul is my own." And so when he was being purified, he said the same thing. So I feel like he is gonna look for redemption somehow, and he is. I think he's going for an identity. You know, he's trying to search for his identity. That's probably gonna be his last goal in this season, and he is there inside King Byogen. How are the girls gonna win against? Like, they could barely defeat Daruizen. Imagine now King Byogen. I mean, the healing animals will be there to fight with them. But overall, I have no idea how they're going to do it. I have no idea how it's going to be in this last fight. But I believe that Daruizen inside King Byogen, if he seeks for a redemption, he's going to play a role in this last fight because of this. Nonetheless, amazing episode. I loved it. Loved it. Anyways, just want to take this time to thank the members of the Magical Cinnamon channel. Thank you all so much for being members. I really appreciate the support. I really appreciate that you believe in Magical Cinnamon. Every time I think that I have supporters, I'm like, is this real life? So thank you very much. It's really crazy to me. I'm very emotional after this episode. It was very good. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, bye bye.